Okay, boxing fans, I'm going to do a prediction now for a fight that I'm actually looking forward to for some reason. I don't know why. Devon Alexander versus Shawn Porter. Devon Alexander is 25 victories, 14 of which by way of knockout, to a single loss. Shawn Porter is 22 victories, undefeated, with a draw thrown in there too. A lot of people see this as a mismatch, but I don't see it that way. I see it as a tough fight for Devon Alexander, and I'm going to tell you why. Firstly, Devon Alexander has only ever impressed me 2 times in his career. Okay, once knocking out Juan Arango, and the other time totally outclassing Marcos Maidana. Now let's move back in time to the first Arango KO. That must have really went to his head, because that was a great knockout. It was great picking the shots, great uppercut. He's shown good power in that fight, which he's not shown since. He's shown great class in that fight. I really thought he'd go on and do something after that fight, but I don't know, that KO must have went to his head, because then he went and fought a few other guys, and his performances really dipped dramatically. He went and fought Kotelnik, and Kotelnik beat him, in truth, but you know what happens in boxing politics. You've got an American in St. Louis, and you got Kotelnik coming from Ruski land, so they just took the title from Kotelnik. They gave the victory to Devon, and he didn't deserve it. And since then, he's pretty much realised that fighting in St. Louis is more beneficial to him than fighting just for boxing. Anyway, Tim Bradley then came up next, and he only pretty much wanted the fight after Kotelnik beat him. That was when he decided, yeah, it's time to do the fight. Bradley went out there and beat him up and made him quit, and it was a good fight for Bradley. The only thing was, neither of them got loads of fans out of that one. But anyway, Devon moved on to the Matisse fight, which, if you look at it, Kotelnik, Bradley, Matisse, it's a great run in your CV, especially when you've got 2 victories, 1 loss out of it. And you think it would, elevate him right in the pound for pound record there. But, reality and, make-believe is totally different. In make-believe, which is the records, it says that Devon Alexander has a victory over Kotelnik, a loss to Bradley, and a victory over Matisse. But unofficially, but in reality, it's more like he lost the 3 of those fights back to back to back. Matisse beat him, well, just about beat him, I thought. Bradley made him quit, and Kotelnik straight up beat him on a decision. But they decided not to give it to him. Once again, with Matisse, they had the guy coming from Latino land, and another fight for Devon Alexander, pretty much in his hometown, and they decided Matisse wasn't worth the victory, and they gave it against Devon. Oh no, they gave it to Devon, sorry, and against Matisse. But that's boxing, that's politics. These guys, realistically, these guys know what they're getting into. Kotelnik, Matisse, they're going to America. If they don't want to get robbed, they shouldn't be going there. That's my opinion. But at the same time, I don't think it's fair. But they must have had the idea that they had to win convincingly. Kotelnik probably did. Matisse probably could have done more, but still, I thought all 3 of them beat him. Anyway, I'm the only person to point that out, that he lost all 3 fights for some reason, but we'll move on from that. He moved to 147, and he had some very good fights at that one. Well, especially one great fight where he totally outclassed Marcos Maidana, and that was, in my opinion, his greatest performance to date. Looking at Maidana, okay, he is, in my opinion, the most overhyped fighter in welterweight boxing today. Nonetheless, Devon Alexander made Maidana look like a total mug in that fight, and like I said, in his greatest performance to date. But then when you look at the rest of his career, I'm just going to sum it up. Devon beat Bailey, but was anything other than impressive. He then fought UK domestic fighter, not world fighter, not fringe level contender, domestic level fighter Lee Purdy. And to be honest, Darren Barker saved Devon's blushes there, because without them pulling him out, I don't think Devon was going to get the knockout, and Devon was not impressing, and he had a broken hand, so I don't see the KO coming. That was a bad fight for Devon. I mean, yeah, to be honest, I see a lot more negatives coming out of that fight than positives. Yeah. But what have we learnt about Devon Alexander over his career coming to this point today? Basically, Devon only impresses against a certain type of fighter. The likes who are crude, come forward fighters with little plan A other than I'm going to knock him out and no plan B. The likes of Arango, Maidana, too crude, just coming in, I'm going to kill him, I'm going to knock him out, rah, that kind of fighter. Every time he stepped up and fought a guy against the likes of Matisse, the likes of Bailey, who have got the plan A to knock the guy out, but they've got plan B and they've got a little bit more to their game, they've got a little bit extra. He's struggled. I mean, Matisse beat him, like we said, everyone knows that. Bailey, 38 years old man, two of the judges had it competitive. To me that suggests it's more of a moral victory for Bailey, a younger Bailey, who knows, I'm not going to say he would have won, but Devon did well to beat him and he's got his second weight title, but he didn't impress in that fight. Then there's the likes of the Bradleys, the Kotelniks, who straight up beat him, and they've got multiple dimensions to their game. Since then Devon's not fought a fighter with multiple dimensions. That's a fact. Look for his record. He's not fought a great fighter who's a brilliant boxer, got pop in his punch, can do different things, athletic and all that. He's not fought them. He's not done them at all. Not fought them at all. Fought the same type of fighter ever since. Then you look at Lee Purdy, in which was on paper and in reality the weakest opponent Devon Alexander has fought when a world title's involved. You understand? And he's shown a lot of negatives in that one. I'm going to say it. Devon showed he cannot punch at all. I'm going to say Purdy's a tough fella in that, but he has been down before. He has been hurt before. He's very limited. He's got no plan B. His plan A, in that fight wasn't working, but he was still going forward, trying to fight. And like I said, if Darren Barker didn't pull out Lee Purdy, which I don't think he should have, Devon would have looked a right mug at the end of that fight, even though he would have completely won the fight, decision, and it would have been, a whitewash on the scorecards. Everyone would be going, Lee Purdy, mate, Lee Purdy. What else has Devon shown us? I'm going to give him some props now. He's shown us he has some heart. He doesn't duck. He wants to fight the best, and he's got a good chin. But mentally, I don't know if he's all there. He don't want to leave the American area. He knows. Realistically, he knows that if he leaves that area, his main advantage, which is his home advantage, is gone. So he's a smart guy, but you gotta ask him you gotta wonder about his mental toughness, because he obviously doesn't believe in himself to the point where he can win every fight no matter what, just depending on his skills. He knows, which is smart by the way, but it's also, he knows his level, you know what I mean? You got to think about that. Moving on to his opponent, Shawn Porter. I've been watching him for a while on the undercards. He's got a lot of decent undercard fights. However, until 2013 I've not been impressed by Porter at all. 2012 is pretty much a year to forget for him. He got past the game Alfonso Gomez, but barely. He drew with Julio Diaz, but in reality he lost that fight. 2013 was a very good year for him though. He came back and he fought Phil LaGreco, who says he was weight trained, but I don't know. And he done a good fight there, and he beat him up and dropped him in the 10th, and it was a good fight for him. And then he rematched Julio Diaz and he won a much easier decision, which is quite good for Shawn Porter. The main downside to Shawn Porter is he's never been in a 12-round fight, or he's only ever been a 10-rounder, so he doesn't understand the championship rounds. He's not experienced them, no experience of the championship rounds. That's a big call. That's a big thing going into your world title fight. Big thing, because he's not Mike Tyson. Anyway, if you look at Shawn Porter, does he have any attributes to Woody Devon Alexander? I say yes. He's got good movement. He's got speed of his own and stamina. Well, up until the 10th round. I don't know if he will in the 12th. He puts his punches together well, and he knows how to pick the right punch. And he's got more than one dimension, which will make Devon work for that win. And give him a few different things to look at. And Devon's not actually had anything else to look at in 147. He's only ever fought the same type of one-dimensional fighters. So this change may bring the best out of Devon, or it may make him look even more limited. I don't know. But we'll come into this. Honestly, the main problem is Porter is yet to fight the full 12 rounds. Now, he's not the biggest puncher, so I expected to go the full 12 rounds. And if he's got no experience of the championship rounds, I don't like the sound of that going into your first world title fight in the biggest fight of your life. So, for that reason, I'm going to pick Devon to win a close-ish decision. He should win it by at least 3 or 4 points, but basically the championship rounds will make the difference. I would pick Porter to win if he had more experience of the championship rounds. Basically, if Porter had 2 more fights fighting someone around his own level in 12 rounders and he won both of those, I'd have favoured him. I'd have probably bet a little bit of money on him to beat Devon by points, but because he doesn't, I'm going to bet Devon Alexander wins this fight via points.